Now, I won't dwell on the ugliness issue, but it really was something that was recognised quite early on. Let's just say that when he was born, the doctor smacked Kiki. Robert grew up in Mulgrave and was affectionately known by the family as the Ugly One. He successfully completed HSC. It was the upmarket part of North Cunningham. During his school years, his sports of choice were basketball and surfing. Now, I managed to get in touch with his old sports teacher, who's about 85 or 90 now, I think, and I asked him about Robert's sporting prowess, and he said, I remember the ugly kid. And he mentioned that basketball and surfing were his sort of main sports interest. But of course, I was looking for dirt, so I said to him, you know, were there any sports that Rob was particularly uncoordinated and geeky at? And he said, oh yes, basketball and surfing. That's true, actually.
That's better.
Robert, as you know, married relatively young at the age of 21. Now, I guess you could ask why so young. I can only assume that he took a look in the mirror and he thought, I may not get this lucky ever again. Daniel, Simon, Sarah and Claire are, of course, great testament to Robert and Gabriel. As we all know, Robert is a justifiably proud father, and I must say his relationship with them has been something that I've always admired and respected. That was a serious note. I met in the early 90s. It was in the RP Shearer days, and Robert joined the senior management team. And I was sort of the youngest at that stage on a fairly old school management team, and it was just such a relief to have someone on the team that was far more immature than even I was. And as we've heard, he later moved on to bigger and better things, and of course, as we've heard, now presides over one of the top 10 privately owned recruitment companies in Australia, which is a great achievement. Now, about halfway through his corporate career, during the late 90s, Robert had a brief but highly distinguished political career, council political career. Robert ran and was elected to the lofty heights of councillor for the city of Knox. Now, I'm sure we all have, but I've certainly always admired those who endure the grind of political life, the doers, the ones that really make a difference. And Robert was really no exception. Where would we be without that extra bus stop near the Wanturna family home? Thank you, Leonie.
You sold him out.
Where's Claire? Claire, where are you? We actually got the bus stop put there for Claire, my daughter. Serious.
Very true. That's political power going to a good cause.
Despite those lofty heights, Robert remains the same ugly, immature man we all love. Speaking of love, Robert met his true love in 2005.
Yeah, I thought it was Eddie.
Sadly, that didn't quite work out, but as luck would have it, along I could go on about what a wonderful couple they are, how Leonie has brought out the best in Robert, how we admire her for loving such an ugly man, and so on. But I'm not going to do that. Let's all be honest. We have all been sickened by the gooey, gushy, quite frankly, Robert, a man of your age should not be enjoying a woman in the manner that we suspect you are.
The parents are here. Mum and Dad are here.
Hang your head in shame, woman.
Now, a number of the speakers have touched on the midlife crisis, but I would actually like to point out, maths was one of my strong points, it's actually not a midlife crisis, it's a two-thirds life crisis. And Robert has in fact been in crisis for about 15 years, and just love it. When you stop and think about the hobbies, and they've been touched on tonight, you sort of get a sense for how exhausting it must be for Paul Leone. There's the boat, Junie B. That's been a work in process for 15 years, but was finally finished last Sunday. Congratulations. Perhaps not his most successful hobby. It's about to go on the market after years of unrewarded toil by his family and friends. The motorbikes, a Harley and a Honda Shadow. I mean, a motorbike? Why two, Robert?
I know one, yeah.
The car restoration projects, again, there's two, who knows what. The 1970s BMW 2002, suddenly he's a racing car driver. How does that happen? One minute you're a CEO and a respected family man, the next minute you're a racing car driver. Amazing. Only Robert. The rock band, Red Rock. Now, Robert's musical talents didn't really emerge until, well, truthfully we're still waiting, but nonetheless, he plays a mean guitar, along with James on bass, who is unfortunately left, Catherine on vocals, who is here, but I can't see because I haven't got my glasses on. And I recently got a Gundry on drums. Now, when Robert asked me to join them on drums, I was actually quite flattered. But it was later explained to me that the reason they needed a new drummer was that the old drummer was too good. So evidently I'm just bad enough.
And the old drummer, where are you, Dennis?
You're better than me. So, as much fun as it's been laughing at Robert's expense, allow me to get serious just for a very brief moment.
We're enjoying the funny part.
Robert, I'm sure I can speak for all of us in saying that you truly are a great mate. One we know we can always rely on, and a friend for life. Your energy and your zest for life is contagious and quite simply good to be around. So congratulations on another milestone and happy birthday, mate. I haven't finished yet.
One more.
The last thing I'd like to say is a little story that I think sums up Robert beautifully, actually. And he knows
So
the
you
story.
got away with it then, didn't
The
you?
photo was up there.
We have a Dalmatian called Billy. And Billy is extremely intelligent, he's reliable, he's obedient, but consistent with the Dalmatian nature. When he's allowed free on the Sorrento doggy beach, as we often take him, he just goes crazy. He races off, he bounds into the water, whether it's summer or winter. He runs from one family to the next, from one dog to another, making friends with everybody and every dog that he comes across. He chases everybody else's balls. I'm not referring to Eddie. And he continues to chase stones that I throw into the water, and he still hasn't worked out that they get to reach the bottom before he gets anywhere near it. He just oozes fun, and everybody wants to play with him. My son, who was about 14 at the time, he said to me, you know, if Billy was a human, he'd be Robert Van Stocken. And that is a true story. Thanks, Robert. Congratulations, mate.